Welcome everyone to the December 14th, 2023 meeting of the Delaware County Board of Commissioners. Would you please rise and join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good, thank you. I'm Jeff Benton, President of the Board this year. To my left is Vice President, fellow Commissioner Gary Merrill. To my right is fellow Commissioner Barb Lewis. Our Administrator Tracy Davies, Deputy Administrator Eric Hostetler. No Dawn this morning, I presume.
She's in a meeting.
She's in a meeting, okay. And our clerks today, Randy Wilson and Jennifer Walraven. We can begin.
Resolution number 23-1074, in the matter of approving electronic record of proceedings from regular meeting held December 11th, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 23-1074. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
We do have public comment today, but it is about item number 11, so we will address that then.
If that's all right with you, Mr. Andrews, we'll just hold off until we get to your item that you wanted to discuss. Okay, great. Okay, Jennifer, let's keep going.
Resolution number 23-1075, in the matter of approving purchase orders, send and out certificates and payments of warrants in batch number CM APR 1213 and memo transfers in batch number MTA PR 1213.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 23-1075. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 23-1076, in the matter of granting annexation petition from agent for the petitioner, Donald T. Plank, Plank Law Firm, LPA, requesting annexation of 6.357 acres of land in Liberty Township to the city of Powell.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 23-1076. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 23-1077, in the matter of setting date and time and for viewing and public hearing for consideration of the drainage improvement petition for the Wertz number 459 watershed filed by Christopher Acker and others.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Vote, please.
Vote on motion 23-1077. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 23-1078, in the matter of setting date and time for viewing and public hearing for consideration of the drainage improvement petition for the Big Bear Farms Section 2, Part 2 watershed filed by Big Bear Farms Homeowners Association.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 23-1078. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Our next item, we have two guests with us today, Karen Watkins and Katie Stedman, for the update on the fight against Hunger Games for 2023.
Good morning. Karen Watkins. I'm the fiscal coordinator for the Juvenile and Probate Court, and around October, Judge Himanowski allows me out and into the community. So I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to speak with you about the Fight Against Hunger Games event that took place during the week of Thanksgiving. Every year after we complete this event, I'm awestruck by the generosity of our community partners, schools, county agencies, and what they're capable of in such a short time frame. This year was no different, and yet very different from last year. 2022 was the first year that we had to turn people away, and it was absolutely heartbreaking. And so this year we were bound and determined to not repeat that. So in preparation for 2023, we set what I thought was a very lofty goal of a complete meal kit for 650 families. And again, I thought that that was just, that might be out of reach, but silly me, by the time November 17th ended, we had complete meals for 860 families ready to go out, and many pantry items that we were able to include yet again. Just quick math, because that's my job. Assuming an average of 4 people per family, we were attempting to provide Thanksgiving for 3,440 people in our community. This year had its challenges, but as always, the silver lining outshined every hiccup. Bixby was a wonderful place for us to hold this event over the last 3 years, but trying to conduct public business, distribute meal kits, was not going to end well for traffic, public business, or quite honestly, for John Melvin's sanity. So he graciously made a phone call out to the fairgrounds, and we were booked into the new fairgrounds building for the 2 weeks leading up to the event. While we were walking the new space the Friday before Smith Elementary showed up with their 2,000 cans of corn and BV Middle and High School with their 1,600 cans of carrots, we learned that a quinceañera had been booked for the Friday before our event, and we would just need to secure our items. That means that we would have needed to move 650 big blue IKEA bags, which weighed about 25 pounds, 2 more times. Jen and Rob from the fair were absolutely amazing and so helpful and walked us over to the old Coliseum building. And that's where we found our backup plan, and I didn't realize how perfect it was going to be, and we've already booked it for next year. As with that garage door and the large area large enough to turn a van around into, who knew that that's what we needed to save our backs during the food gathering? But before a single box of mashed potatoes even hit the table, with the generosity of our partners and their monetary donations, we already had 675 frozen turkeys housed in the freezer over at Bixby. And while they were more expensive per pound than we had paid in the past, they were such a reasonable size that we were more than willing to spend $10 on a 10-pound bird than $10 on an 18-pound bird that might be wasted. We made some great contacts and friends this year at the different grocery stores, as you tend to draw a crowd and questions when you're trying to check out 32 birds in the self-checkout. Katie made lots of friends. She is our court vegetarian, and yet 32 birds in a cart was funny. They were all so quick to offer help in ordering in bulk or making calls to get us what we needed, and they are already expecting a phone call from us in October of next year. And it's the sharing of this event with new friends that makes this successful each and every year. Sharing this event has brought me many friends and partners that have made each year better. Last year, while the cars kept showing up, but the food had already run out, and I was crying on the grass at Bixby, Otto and Sheriff Keith Cox told me that it was going to be okay and that we simply did the best that we could. But it was his constant encouragement and participation and thoughtfulness that he and Otto got us through every hurdle into the end of this event. And while the traffic management and security was wonderful, it was watching Deputy Cox gently place gobblegrams colored by elementary school kids into each blue bag that really captured the meaning of this event. It was a simple gesture that costs little but means plenty. That, the occasional gobble as he was placing turkeys into vehicles that made the entire line erupt. I so appreciate Sheriff Balzer allowing Otto and Deputy Cox to spend so much time with us that made this event a success. Last year, I also met a wonderful woman by the name of Barb Lyons. She used to work over at the United Way, and she was invaluable during this event, and I'm so thankful to call her my friend now. She spent hours with us sorting and packing and strategizing on how to spend our remaining funds. And she understood the importance of getting students involved and had the Delaware lacrosse girls, including one, Greta Walraven, who said, you know my mom, come over. She does that every time I see her. It's adorable. Spend an hour with us packing and sorting supplies. And I'm most thankful for her assistance on the day of the event when at 5 p.m. and I still had about 190 birds sweating on a turkey truck, that she made some calls and we were able to serve not just individuals that day, but our community, and connected us with local organizations. With her help, we were able to provide 40 turkeys to people in need for their annual holiday clearinghouse event, and another 70 complete meals to the Common Ground Free Store for their Thanksgiving meal pickup that day. The ability to zig versus zag and make it look so effortless is a skill that I hope to achieve, and I look forward to strengthening our communications and our connections with our community partners through Barb's guidance next year. By 9:23, the day before Thanksgiving, all of our birds and meal kits had found homes, and dropping off to the people in need, the line was already forming through the parking lot, and they were so thankful for our kits and the opportunity to feed so many. All of the perishables were delivered to local pantries, and the Coliseum at the fairground once returns to its previous state. But what we accomplished in a 2-week time frame needs to be stated again. We were able to provide complete meal kits to 860 families in our community and able to supplement our local pantries. The many words of thanks we heard in line, I need to forward on. It's my annual crying session, I'm sorry. We could not have done this without you and what you contributed. It's difficult to explain the impact that every donation has towards this event. Every year we collect from the different departments and schools, and I will get a phone call, hey, I've got another can of peas here. I've got 3 boxes of mashed potatoes. It's just a can of peas. What do you want me to do with them? I'm gonna come get them every single time, because every donation is one less thing that we need to purchase and one more way to get someone involved. I never want someone to think that their donation doesn't matter. For every can of peas donated this year, we were able to buy 1 more pound of turkey. And sharing the importance of participation in community is my primary goal. I'm okay. I never want someone to think that their contribution doesn't impact this event. This year, while sorting through the green beans, I saw several cans with the expiration date written in permanent marker. It's an organizational technique used in food pantries to designate when something is expiring. So a family or youth who was already experiencing food insecurity decided to share what they had with an unknown community member. And that's the true spirit of this event. And I hope that it continues to grow each and every year. Okay. I would like to say a special thank you to some of our partners and staff that were real superheroes this year. Performance and Toyota and Dodge Performance contributed enough funding for 150 complete meal kits. Eagles Lodge 376 for their $4,000 contribution, and Deputy Treasurer Samantha Swope, who's one of our biggest advocates, and the Eagles Women Auxiliary Group, who reached out to Andrew's House, who's our constant supporter, for an additional $500 donation. The Delaware County Board of Realtors, the Delaware Citizen Police Academy Alumni Association, and the Criminal Justice Association were 2 new partners this year who reached out to help. Tammy Matthias and Megan Belcher and the whole Delaware County CASA team, who is such an incredible team to begin with. They spent 2 days gathering instant potatoes and gravy and helping us make new connections to those who own trailers for turkey transport. Angie Riley for she just bought a new car. And she sacrificed her new car smell by putting hundreds of miles on her car and gathering produce, including very large onions and bread, and recruiting her mom and stepdad as well to assist. The juvenile probation team that put up with me and all of my demands for 3 weeks straight. I can be a lot. And their willingness to jump in and every time, be it gathering thousands of cans of veggies, dropping off meals, or buying out grocery stores of all of their carbs. I appreciate all that they did for me in this event. And then there were 2 very special high school students that spent 20+ hours with us, distributing meals on Monday and Tuesday. And then their additional generosity when they asked for a ride to Aldi so that they could buy with their own money 15 dozen eggs, 15 pounds of cheese, and 15 pounds of butter to add to the perishable collection. I'm almost done. Someone asked me why this event is so important to me, and I struggle to put it into words. I think it's because it's an easy way for us to show compassion to our fellow community members without any one person holding too much of the burden. It's like the story of stone soup. We all bring an item to the pot and the whole community is fed. And with a spreadsheet and some emails, I can show my love to my community and feel that I make a difference. I personally would also like to say thank you to everyone that participated in the event this year, from the gathering of a food item or the donation of money or simply showing up and giving us some time. I so appreciate all of you and your willingness to be part of this event. Every time I can share this with just one person, the next year will be more successful than the previous. And I welcome everyone here to come see this event and the generosity of our community in action. The feeling of community, the sense of belonging and having purpose, and the opportunity to share that with others. That's why this is so important to me. So thank you for letting me start a pot of stone soup. And I appreciate every one of you and the ingredients that you add to our community.
I know.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I mean,
Yeah. How do you
What-
follow that?
I know. Oh, my gosh. Well, first of all, thank you, thank you, thank you. I mean, an unbelievable way to help so many. And like you say, when you're looking at someone and you're giving them a dinner for Thanksgiving. I mean, each and every special person that was there, and then each.
It was a wonderful event, and I can't describe it properly. It really has to be
You did a
seen.
pretty
I think
good
you-
job. Yes.
It's the feeling that you have when you walk away, or the feeling when somebody is crying in their car and saying thank you because they didn't know what they were going to do.
Right, right.
I can't describe that feeling. It's something that has to be witnessed.
Oh, my gosh. And how you brought all these community resources together. I mean, it's mind-boggling.
It's
And
the
like you
only
s-
way that it can succeed, is we all have to pitch in.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
So.
And your coworkers and Katie sitting back there. I know you're a right-hand gal, and I can't thank you enough. We can't thank you enough for what you've
Thank
done.
you for this opportunity. I appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
My comments, I did not make it this year, but last year I was there and I saw you, the way you were working and helter-skelter, if I could use that phrase, to try to get
Absolutely,
everything
that's a
done.
pretty good
And you
description.
were so helpful as well. You want to introduce,
Yes, this is Katie Stenman, Court Administrator for the Juvenile and Probate Court, and my cohort in chaos when it comes to Thanksgiving.
Well-
Again, she and I do quite the supermarket sweep beginning of November when it comes to how many turkeys do you think they'll let us buy? I don't know, let's see what that number looks
Yeah.
like.
and we asked you to come and speak last year, so I think it's may become an annual event. You coming and speaking
Yes.
after the
Yeah, I
success of the
mean,
event.
annual crying session in public, I'm good.
Oh, absolutely.
So your passion, your emotion,
Yeah.
Great.
says it all. And we talk a lot about this community and all it does, and its willingness to come out and support many different events. We all have events that are special to each of us. But we're talking about employees here in the county that are doing this event. And so expanding to include employees in the county who are equally passionate and equally
Yep.
committed to doing a great job. So thank you, and you should never apologize for your emotion, because it helps illustrate why
Thank
this
you.
is important. So,
Thank you.
God bless you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. It reminds me of the PIN clearinghouse, the Christmas clearinghouse.
And they in fact take the Coliseum space as soon as we were
Right,
done.
right.
So-
And I know we've
Right.
all done that in prior years,
Yeah.
and you have the same feeling going away from that, you know.
Right.
We're helping families for Christmas, you guys do it for Thanksgiving, and it's a great feeling and a great indication of the depth of caring, compassion that we have in our community.
Yes.
No,
So-
the community members, all of the, the employees here, they're all so quick to jump in, and yes, we will gather, 150 boxes of fill in the
Right.
blank. They're so willing,
Right.
even as we're packing bags, Jane and Eric came out and they kept dropping off boxes of stuffing that would just keep showing up. They would drop off a box, like, I still have stuffing, bring it over, I still need it. So, I mean, it's a wonderful event, it's wonderful to share, and I really appreciate the opportunity.
And maybe a thank you to the fairgrounds for making their facility available.
Sure.
It was
Absolutely.
at Bixby last year.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, no, the Bixby was, again, a wonderful space, but as you saw with the traffic, there was no way that we were gonna be able to offer, public service and that event. So the fairgrounds was wonderful, and again, Jen and Rob have us booked for next year and
Oh,
probably
that's
for
good.
ongoing years. It was a wonderful space for us to operate out of this year.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, again, thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
the whole team.
Thank you.
Everybody
Thank you.
that
Thank
pitched
the
in. Thanks a
judge
lot.
and
Yeah.
everybody. Yeah. God bless you. Thank
Yep.
you so much for coming in.
And everyone who helped us, we'd be here all day.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
my,
know.
The generosities that we experienced are just
Right.
incredible.
oh, my gosh. Talk about the ability to bring all
Yeah.
individuals, groups. I mean, it would never done something like this before, but you always said yes, no matter what the challenge. You met it. Thank you.
Great leadership.
Thank you. Yes. Absolutely.
Okay, Jennifer?
Oh,
All right, that brings us
let's
to
keep going.
item number 8. Resolution number 23-1079, in the matter of establishing a new organizational key, approving supplemental appropriations and rescinding supplemental appropriations in resolution number 231043.
so moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Morning, Commissioners. Justin Avi, Director of Finance. This request would establish the chart of accounts and budget for the EMA Department's 2022 PUCO Hazardous Materials Training Grant.
Okay, questions, comments? Vote, Jennifer?
Vote on motion 23-1079. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 23-1080, in the matter of approving a service agreement between the Board of Commissioners, Delaware County, Ohio, and Terracon Consultants Incorporated for underground storage tank closures at the Channing Street facility.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Thanks, Commissioners. This second request, again, would just authorize a contract to remove the fuel tank, underground fuel tanks at the Channing Street property, and this project will be reimbursable under a state grant.
Okay. Further comments, questions? Vote, please.
Vote on motion 23-1080. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 23-1081, in the matter of authorizing the submitting of an application for the Building Demolition and Site Renovation Grant Program for the Commissioner's Office.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Thanks, Commissioners. This third request would authorize county administration to apply for a state grant for the removal of the fuel tanks at the old service station.
Okay. Questions, comments? Vote, please.
Vote on motion 23-1081. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Justin.
Resolution number 23-1082, in the matter of approving an agreement between the Delaware County Sheriff's Office, the Delaware County Board of Commissioners, and Burgess and Nyepel Incorporated for shooting range concept development.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Dean Stelzer, Delaware County Sheriff's Office. This agreement is with a consulting engineering firm to look at some preliminary issues and layout plan for potential firing range relocation to our new training and academy site up at the old Ventures Academy. Obviously, you're familiar with some of the issues impacting the current firing range, but as this has kind of materialized, not just issues with the firing range, but the training academy and the whole in-house training efforts that just seem to be going, expectations seem to be going up on an ongoing basis. That site up there really seems to make a lot of sense from a functional standpoint, from an operational issue. Having people based in multiple locations and staff moving from one place to the next really eats up a lot of time. You know, we look at our training of our staff, and it's one thing, the cost of either acquiring the training, as important is just the staff time, pulling them out of their positions, pulling them off patrol. And I think the more we can do to make that as efficient as possible, the better off we'll be. So as plans are, and I was at the facility yesterday, and it's coming along real well, and I think it'll really work out well into the future for hopefully what becomes a top-of-the-line training facility for law enforcement, obviously for the sheriff's office, but who knows, you know, it could even expand a little bit beyond there. But that possibility, because we're going to have staff based up there. We currently have 2, and soon we'll have 3 deputies that do nothing but train existing staff, not training new recruits, and a lot of in-service, and just a lot of things that occur related to that. Having that at one site just makes a whole lot of sense. So this kind of, you know, citing a firing range, as you're probably aware, is maybe not as bad as citing a landfill, but sometimes there can be some issues associated with that. And I believe with this agreement, they'll explore those considerations and come up, hopefully, that it works at that site. It may not, but we're optimistic it'll work at that site and that it'll be a well-designed, well-planned firing range to minimize any environmental and or residential impacts that might be associated with it. Entertain any questions you may have
Yeah,
related to that.
Burgess and Apple, they're not limiting this study to just this one site, are they? They're considering other sites, or is it?
Well, I think since this is kind of morphed into with a lot of the issues I just talked about, the primary site, I think they're going to focus primarily on that. If in doing that it becomes apparent that, you know, we've got to look at some other site that it's just not going to work, that would probably be another element to it. I don't know that, you know, a couple of years ago had been kicking around what could be possible sites throughout the county. And, part of that even led to this potential site. But as it stands, we don't necessarily have a site identified. If we can, and if we do, and if that's an expectation I think that the commissioners have, I think we could explore that along with this, and it may be a little bit of a addendum to the agreement if we have to say, also look at this site over here, so we can contrast what may make sense. Problem is just identifying another site. It's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
Commissioners, Tracy Davies, County Administrator. I did have a conversation with Sheriff Balzer this week. I just wanted him to reassure us that this does not preclude the county from looking at additional sites for a shooting range, and he assured me that that was the case.
Okay. Yeah, good.
Okay.
And
Good
also
point.
knowing, I guess, in general, we don't know the long-term future of that county-owned facility.
Right.
And that the training academy was specifically designed that if it needed to be shut down at some point, it could be shut down at some point or moved.
Yeah, yeah, the acreage we own and farm, is right next to it as well, so that's a factor as well.
Right. And, again, with the firing range, I think there's probably as big of an issue just where you site it, as far as, construction costs, mounding and different things like that. But even if that were the case, and who knows, it was put there and for whatever reason, 5-7 years down the road, there was some other better use that the county had determined for that site. There's not a huge,
Well, I think we'd like to get it right the first time rather than
right.
Sure.
Right.
wherever that is. And I think obviously there's going to be issues that are going to have to be addressed by this study, and I think there will be a number of questions once we have something to look at.
Right.
Yeah.
But there will be some questions to be asked and answered.
Sure.
Yep. Yeah, I think we all acknowledge that the current site isn't a long-term solution. We need to move, so this may be, well, this is the first step in finding another location, so it's good to see that. Other comments? Should we vote and then
Well,
have public
no,
comment?
we should address the public comment before you vote.
Okay. All right, Dean, we've got a gentleman, Mr. Andrews, who wants to have some public comment on this topic, so
Okay.
we'll let him speak at this point.
Thank you, Dean.
Mr. Andrews, if you could identify yourself and your address.
I'm James Andres. I live at 4738 Cackler Road. My property abuts the farm, as you called it, so.
Okay.
Initially, when I heard of this, I'm a NIMBY, not my backyard, don't want a shooting range. I enjoy the peace and quiet. Although, as you see there, I did mark that I am for this, going forward with this proposal to have the agreement with B&N. And maybe I'm a little premature being here and addressing this board, but I'd like to be involved with the development plans. I realize being a NIMBY doesn't really necessarily buy you much other than people hear you and say, yep, they're opposing it. I'd like to be involved. I'd like to help with the research, minimize the impact. This isn't a farm residential district. We do have, larger lots out there, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we should have any less consideration than somebody in town that has a lot. Noise considerations, maybe even the 200-yard range is a concern, because that means, to me, a larger caliber will be shot, more noise. So I want to make sure this is all addressed, perhaps even looking at operational procedures to say that those will only be used on a certain day of the week, so that we can kind of minimize the impact. We know there is going to be impact. I don't think we're going to stop it unless he finds another location to put it, an industrial complex, which would not mind the noise, but to have a 200-yard range would be kind of hard there too. So we understand it has to happen, and on the flip side, if the sheriff comes to my need, I want him to be proficient.
Right, yeah, very true. Very
So
true.
what is it we can do to work together? Is there any way to involve the public in this early planning and development stage is why I'm here.
Yeah, I think that's a good question for Dean. Sheriff's Office will lead this study. So Dean, maybe you could respond to that.
I think most definitely that needs to be a part of it. And probably work with the Commissioner's office. You're a little bit probably more aligned to conducting public meetings, inviting neighbors, and getting some input. But yes, that certainly should be, especially if there's issues. You know, the engineers sometimes can be, they design their thing, and there's ways to tweak different elements of it that might be stimulated by some comments made by residents or
Well,
others.
the comments I heard were constructive.
Right.
Do you think somebody's gonna come up and just say, no, because it's my backyard? I didn't hear that. I heard constructive comments, and I think it's extremely important that Burgess and Apple do reach out to you, and you and any of your other neighbors, and make sure you're included in the discussion. So let's make sure that happens.
I think Burgess and Nyepel will be a part of that, but I think the sheriff's office and Sheriff Balzer will be the primary. He's the sheriff. He's responsible for what ultimately gets put there, and I'm sure he'll be very active in taking input.
Yep. Good. That'd be very helpful. Mr. Andrews, thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Yep. Jennifer?
She's elected.
I'd be happy to.
Yeah.
You need to
Come on,
come up. Yeah.
You're an elected, so,
We'll have her fill one out because she can do so until you vote on this item.
okay.
Thank you. Connie Skinner, Brown Township trustee, and just want to reiterate what my township resident had to say. Please keep the township involved as well. And want to let you know there is an old cemetery somewhere on that property. I am attempting to get aerial photographs from the 1950s. Once I receive those, I'll be happy to share, when I have more information. But, just want to protect that cemetery there if we can.
And I believe the county's doing some research on the cemetery as well. So.
Yes, it's happening slowly, but it's moving forward as much as we can, so thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Connie. I know the township hall is actually pretty close to our property there, so
Yes.
certainly makes sense to get the township involved as well. So thank you.
And I guess I just made the assumption that the township was involved or would be involved, so fully agree 100%.
Yep.
Thank you.
I think that's another element of the study. Back in the day, you put a firing range, you mound some dirt, and you do that. There's a lot more involved in it now, considering how and what it's constructed and any number of different things. So I think we'll definitely take that professional look to doing this and really as much as possible. Obviously, cost is a factor, mitigating any impacts because of putting it there.
Yep. Okay. Now we'll do a vote. Jennifer?
Vote on motion 23-1082. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 23-1083, in the matter of approving an agreement between the Delaware County Sheriff's Office, the Delaware County Board of Commissioners, and Trinity Services Group Incorporated for food services at the Delaware County Jail.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
This agreement continues a relationship with the current food service provider at our jail. We've had them in for several years, do a pretty good job. Did take proposals, wasn't a lot of interest out there. There's not that many entities that provide this service anymore. We had at one point contemplated changing how we provide food service, even looking at the facility out at Bixby there, the previous kitchens that were there when the JBS was out there, about see if we can get an entity to come in and maybe base their food prep service there, but it just didn't get legs and didn't really materialize in that way. So we're going to continue to use the contracted process here. Another project we're working on is looking at utilizing that space at the jail facility that was previously occupied by our deputies, obviously once they moved to the new facility. And a part of that original concept design type of looking at possibilities was looking at the kitchen facilities, because they are a little bit not really up to par. But this would still fit in line with whatever, if there are any improvements made to the kitchen facility out there. And as far as cost increase, I was surprised. I really half expected it to skyrocket along with everything else, as far as inflation, but they weren't too bad. We got a pretty decent proposal from a cost standpoint. Entertain any questions you may have.
Questions, comments? Vote, Jennifer?
Vote on motion 23-1083. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye,
Mr. Benton?
Aye. Thanks, Dean.
thank you.
That brings us to administrator reports.
Nothing today.
Eric?
Nothing.
Okay. Commissioner Lewis?
Yes, I wanted to congratulate Superintendent Kraft for his appointment as State Superintendent of Education. That's really something, and
Important position.
it
And
is an
I know
important
Paul fairly
position.
well, and he will be a great
Yeah.
addition.
Yeah.
I think he's, it'd be hard pressed for me to think of somebody that would do a better job.
When I heard that, I had the same reaction. I thought he was perfect.
Yes,
So-
yes, right. I guess Colonel, I should say Colonel.
Colonel,
Kraft,
yeah, he's correct.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but that,
Buckeye Valley is gonna.
I know
is a good
Buckeye
superintendent.
Valley, right. I'm sure they wish that he could stay, but then understand too that
Yep.
the position is a very important one. And to have a Delaware County resident with his caliber
Right.
is great. So, let's see, DKMM, you could,
Go right ahead.
yeah, we were all there, passed the budget and finished things for the year. And then I know too, we also talked about what Rumpke will be doing, and there will be hazardous waste and electronics collection right here in Delaware County, starting in April. It'll run from April through September.
2 days a week, I believe is what they said.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
Just limited hours.
limited hours,
but
sure.
Regular.
To have it, right,
Very
regular.
available at the new transfer station.
That's right, yeah,
That's very good news.
yeah, just northeast of the city, so, and then I'm sure that Jane will be getting out some information closer to the time in working with DKMM to do that. So that's great news. And I'll let Commissioner Merrill talk about Intel. We had a tour
Sure.
of the new
Sure,
Albany
that's not on my list, but I'll add
business
it. Commissioner Lewis and I were involved in a tour of the New Albany area on Monday, and we went into it, I'm going to assume Commissioner Lewis is saying that it'd be basically a tour of Intel again, and we've seen that a number of times, but it really was a tour of the surrounding properties and kind of the evolution of what has occurred over the number of years, which I guess we kind of lose sight of that, or we forget about that, but it's very
Right.
insightful, and I found that very interesting.
Yes, it
We
was.
drove around the Intel side, but it was only on the outskirts, and we did not go into the site, and it's really about the rest of the things that are going on in New Albany. It's obviously pretty dramatic.
It
what
is
they have done.
impressive what New Albany has going on. It's so many.
From where it was,
Big
little
buildings,
sleepy
big
town, I think they said 400 people back when,
Oh, yeah.
and,
Right,
70s.
where it is today.
right,
So-
right.
Yep.
I have a few other things. Regional Planning Executive was yesterday morning, which I attended. Last night, OPID meeting, and Ally, I don't know if she's still here. She does such a great job. We're fortunate to have her, but she handled the coordination and setup of the room. And Area 18 met last night. And it's frustrating we're not moving quicker, but there is so much involved in this at the state level and of course the settlements that are going on. And my optimism is on February the 21st, at our next meeting, we're going to see some dramatic improvement. I am very impressed with the leader they've appointed at the state level, Alicia Nelson, Executive Director. She's only been in the post for a couple, 3 months. She also spoke at CCO last week, and she was there last night to speak. And I think she is going to be the right person to get us there, but there's a lot to do and a lot going on, and making sure we spend those dollars to the benefit, in our case, 7 counties that we're part of in Area 18. We're in the middle of the interviews for the Ohio Wesleyan Director for Entrepreneurial Center, and I wasn't able to attend the interviews on Monday and Wednesday, so I did it via Zoom on Tuesday with 2 of the candidates. I will be there tomorrow for the 3rd candidate, and I'm assuming there'll be a conversation afterwards by the board about the direction. So I have optimism that we will get a good result and we will know more. And just a congrats to Radnor, they are now listed, their National Register of Historical Places, the Radnor Town Hall. And I think we all got that, and you may have been going to mention that, maybe I beat you to it. But congratulations to Radnor for that. And that's all I have.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a neat building. I've been in it a number of times, and it's good to
Yeah,
see that.
it's really a museum.
Yeah, they've made
Yeah,
it, turned into a
they made it,
museum,
yeah.
meeting hall. I mean,
Yeah,
they really
it's
made good use of
really
it.
neat.
Really, just a couple of things. We did have a TID meeting yesterday. Rob and Chris ran that, for the engineering aspects of it. And there are a couple projects moving forward. And looks, again, we're making good use of the TID, and again, Rob and Chris are doing a nice job of funneling business through there to save money, get things done faster and easier. Went to the Shawnee Hills Chamber Luncheon yesterday. Judge Dave Hemanowski was the speaker, and he spoke about the presidents from mid-1800s to roughly 1900. And it was, again, very interesting. Dave's knowledge of the presidents and a bunch of other things is remarkable. But it was well attended. A lot of good things going on in Shawnee Hills. Carol Kender does a nice job leading that chamber, and they got a lot of good things going on. So congratulations to Shawnee Hills. We do have a land bank meeting Monday at 1:30. We'll get the draft agenda out today, maybe tomorrow. Oh, probably today. I don't think there'll be a whole lot of activity, but more of an update. There's, the real deadline is April 1st of '24, and that's when the applications for demolition and any brownfield, although at this point we don't know of any brownfield remediation projects that will be submitted, but there'll be a number of demolition projects that will be submitted from around the county. And so we'll probably have we'll get an update Monday and then finalize the vote sometime in the first quarter, maybe February, March, so that those applications do get submitted. And then another piece of good news, Sunny B, just right up the street here on Franklin, the annex has been demolished.
Oh,
And
wow.
that's
I'll
thanks
take
to
a
the
closer
wind.
look at that.
That's worth looking at,
Yeah. And so again,
Good.
great to have that done. The asbestos has been removed.
Good.
And then now the annex has been demolished, so now the owners, the buyers, can move forward with the actual renovation of the facility of the building, which will be a beautiful building. But again, it's great that the land bank played a key part in getting that done, because that thing had sat there, I don't know, 15, 16 years without, just deteriorating. So that's all I have. We do need executive session, Jennifer?
We do. Resolution number 23-1084, in the matter of adjourning into executive session for consideration of appointment of a public employee or public official.
So, second.
Discussion, vote?
Vote on motion 23-1084. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
All right, we're now in executive session.